Thanks, Paula. This morning I already said to some friends, when somebody introduces me and says, and she worked for 25 years. I'm glad you kept it subdued. It's really a pleasure to be here. I also said to many of you, I'm going to try to stay as long as I can because this is just the kind of conference and gathering that I love to have here, and I am so proud of the work that our faculty and students have done in producing this. It's really great, too, because we're not just lawyers in this room. And although I love lawyers, don't get me wrong, I understand that there's a minister, a demographer, someone from the House of Delegates in Maryland, an English professor, 2 physicians, and advocates for a range of different causes. And that's just the kind of gathering to have the conversations that are needed in this area. So I want to say welcome to all of you, and I hope we all get to know each other and continue to have these conversations after today. We have much to learn as lawyers from people who have a different perspective on these issues, and I hope that this signifies a continuing effort to collaborate in this way. So this is the 3rd iteration of a series of conversations on race and sex and sexuality that began at Santa Clara, really spearheaded by my very good friend, Professor Stephanie Wildman. It then swung across the country, stopping at Ohio State Moritz College of Law, where Professors John Powell and Mark Spindelman led the discussion, and then it came farther east to Baltimore. Later this year, I understand it's going to go to WashU, and in St. Louis, it will be under the leadership of Professor Laura Rosenberry and Adrian Davis, another great colleague. So I want to say congratulations to everyone for mounting this cause and having this kind of traveling conversation about these important issues. I want to first recognize the leadership here of Professor Martha Ertman as well as Professor Paula Monopoly, who collaborated in every step of the way to make this a really great framework for formalizing the discussion here. From the tiniest logistical details all the way up to ABC News report a couple of days ago. I think it's just been wonderful. My thanks also are to Deb Weimer and Susan Leviton and Marley Weiss, who are going to participate, and for the other folks like Jose Bahamunda Gonzalez and students who have participated as well. So one of the reasons why I'm so proud of it is it gives us a chance to showcase several organizations that are also a part. The Women Leadership and Equality Program that Paula already referred to, the LGBT Alliance that's involved, the BALSA and LALSA, and Women's Bar Association and the Law Students for Reproductive Justice have been involved, in the Journal of Race, Religion, Gender, and Class. So you can see this is truly a collaborative and effort to share conversations from different perspectives, both at the local level as well as nationally. So I love this notion of a crisscrossing of stories across the nation, as well as across gender and other identities. And this, this image of a kind of old switchboard, remember those crisscrossing wires, is really profound, I think, in helping us to think. Frank, you can remember the old days we used to talk about cush balls. So this is kind of an interesting way of moving the images to a different way of thinking about how we all benefit from learning about our different identities and how they impact on us. Switchpoint stories will begin and end with the issue of domestic worker protections here at the law school. And as we know, domestic workers are often women of color with unstable immigration status. So it's really an important place for us to be thinking about these issues. State laws and local ordinances to protect them have just begun to emerge. And some of them are not great, but at least we're moving forward, I hope. college students, many of whom identify as queer, have embraced the issue of domestic protection. And I think that that's especially important because that gives another layer as these young people start from gender studies classes and other ways of thinking about it and then move to the streets. So it's really an important development. I'm going to now introduce my colleague and friend and supporter of this wonderful effort, Martha Ertman, the Carol and Hannon Seibel Research Professor of Law here at Maryland Carey Law School. So she's an excellent match for this project since, like this conference, she has studied or worked in almost every region of this country. For example, after completing her undergraduate work at Wellesley, that other women's college, Martha headed to the Midwest, where she earned her JD at Northwestern. She then clerked for a federal district judge in Louisiana and practiced in Seattle and Denver, all before moving into academia, mind you. Then she served on law faculties at the University of Denver and the University of Utah. She then returned east to join us, and as a member of our business law program, she teaches commercial law, contracts, and contract drafting. But obviously her range of focus and attention in her scholarship goes far beyond those kind of traditional ways of teaching. So some of her publications include such titles as The Upside of Baby Markets, Exchange is Conversation of Families, and The Productive Tension Between Official and Unofficial Stories of Fault in Contract Law. So you see, Martha is a profound thinker and has benefited greatly from her cross and switch stories herself. So her most recent effort is a book called Love and Contracts, and I'm sure she'll talk about that a little bit. So I'm going to introduce now Martha Ertman and say thanks again.